Welcome to the first official episode of the Cult of Dangerous ASMR podcast, a little podcast that I've created in order to discuss and share the love of everyone's favorite sweet and scary ASMR artist, Dangerous ASMR. We're your hosts, MovieBuff3000 and Boggle. Today we will get into the point of this podcast, talk about some of her new audios and give Dangerous all the congratulations about her reaching 50,000 subscribers. This is my co-host, Boggle.
Hello.
First, I'm going to kind of get into why I made this podcast, and then just me and Boggle are going to discuss how we became Dangerous fans and kind of like what she means to us in our lives. Very sad, lonely lives. I made this podcast mainly because I see so many people like make podcasts of like things they love. Obviously, it's kind of dumb that I say it out loud. I kind of wanted to create like an open forum to where like I can discuss with other Dangerous ASMR fans about like what the audios mean to me and like what we like and enjoy about them. And also I'm hoping to like, talk with more fans, hopefully talk with some writers, talk about like their series and like where it kind of came from, and like hopefully get into lore and stuff, and just basically sharing the love of Dangerous in another format. I personally became a fan of Dangerous about around August, September last year. I was randomly looking for Dr. Jekyll and Miss Hyde related videos. I was watching like the clips from like the Tim Daly movie from the 90s, the 70s British horror film Dr. Jekyll and Sister Hyde. And long story short, I really like body changing related stuff, so when I came across her audios, I was super excited and only listened to the transformations for about a couple of weeks. I would literally just, okay, I don't know who Angela Jekyll is, whatever, just skip to the part where you transform into the sexy lady. And after a while, I was just like, wow, I don't know what's going on. I should probably get context for everything. And I didn't even watch episodes in order. I listened to like episode 3 like at first, and then I'm like, I still don't know what's going on. Maybe I should start at 1. And so from there, I listened to the whole series, and I'm like, this is a really good voice actress. I should listen to other stuff. And then at the time, the first episode of Lonely Lamia came out, and I'm like, what the hell's a Lamia? And so I listened to it, and that ended up becoming her most popular video of all time, somehow. I mean, it is a really good video, and it's one I listened to quite a bit, honestly. And then from there, I went back and listened to like her various other videos and started following her on a regular basis. And what about you, Boggle?
Well, it all began when I was born. No, I'm just kidding. Actually, the thing is, I didn't really even get into ASMR in general until a couple years ago, if that. And when I did first try role plays, it just felt kind of strange to me to have somebody talking to me, but I couldn't respond. It felt kind of like watching those kid shows when the characters are like, all right, kids, where is X, Y, or Z? And then there's that awkward moment of silence where the kids are supposed to point to the screen and reply. So for a while, they weren't really my thing, but I remember once thinking, hey, maybe these would be good inspirations for my writing, like, because it is still a dialogue format. Listening to them might give me ideas on what to do in the things I create. And somewhere along the way, I'm pretty sure, being the shameless person that I am, I was looking up female female audios in specific, and because Dangerous has quite a few of those out, and they're all very good, they were some of the first ones to come in the search recommendations, and I thought, well, might as well give it a shot. And similar to what Stephen was saying, like, her voice was just so good and captivating in a way that I can't really describe. Even though I still don't really like ASMR roleplays, like, I was just absolutely enchanted by what I heard, and I was like, okay, I want to just kind of do more. And I don't exactly remember the exact order of videos I watched. I just know that after listening to a couple of the female females, I listened to her more recent audios, because back then I believe it was October of last year. It was a little bit before Halloween. And then not long after that, it was so good that I was like, oh, hey, I've been told that she has a Patreon. I better go check that out, too. And I've kind of been around ever since.
You commented every single one of her Patreon videos.
Well, the way I see it, like, as a creator, nothing feels better than feedback. Yeah. So it's like, hey, this is another way I can return all the skill and time and effort you put into these audios that are so good. Like I've even jokingly said before that I swear to God that the audios are yanderes themselves because they just find you, they latch onto you, and you never leave. Because I'm still here, and it's been, well, I guess
Almost.
8 months. It doesn't feel like it, but yeah.
Yeah, I definitely get that. It's like I said, like around like August and shit is when I started to like listen to her, and that's like just so much time to like constantly like listen to like
Anyone, yeah.
yeah, and
I've never followed another YouTuber this long or this devout. Like maybe every once in a while I'd be like, oh yeah, here's a channel that I'll watch frequently, but it's never been to the point of like, guys, it's almost upload time. Get ready, keep hitting that refresh button. But here I am. I told you, it's a yandere kind of thing where I'm like, you come in, you never go out.
yeah, it's like every single Sunday I wake up, I'm like new audio today. That's just my first thought. Like it's not like, oh, should I go eat breakfast or use the restroom? It's new dangerous audio today. I must wait until it comes out.
Heck, that's the reason I wake up early on Wednesday mornings for the Patreon uploads.
Kind of like Boggle, like I never really was into ASMR in general until like I found Dangerous, and then I branched out to like other role-playing YouTube channels, and I have found some good ones, but just there's something about Dangerous that's just so captivating that it's just kept me always coming back to her.
Same. Like, I actually have not branched out. I don't mean to sound like a suck up, but sometimes I forget that other people do this stuff. People will be like, have you listened to, like, Teacup or Alternate Aurora, et cetera, et cetera? And I'm like, I've heard those names, but who are they? And they're like, well, they're other YouTube ASMR artists who do role plays. And I'm like, oh, shoot, I forgot Dangerous wasn't the only one who did these, because she's about the only one I listen to.
And before we start, I would really much like to pip out the various different things that also involve Dangerous ASMR. All these links will be in the description, but she does have a Twitter. She doesn't use it a whole lot, but when she does, it's usually a very funny like commentary on something. Also, second most importantly, we'll get to the most important Dangerous ASMR media besides YouTube in a second. She has a Patreon, and this Patreon is actually fairly well active. Dangerous has a pretty consistent schedule, and she even throws in like some surprises too, like every now and so. She generally posts like about like 3 to 4 different audios every week, including the special not safe for work audios, and sometimes like Jekyll and Hyde, they're not safe for work versions of the audios, or she just makes a completely different whole one specifically for Patreon. Even if you decide to like, become one of her patrons, she has a large backlog currently. Even when I became like her patron in like September, like towards the end of September, fun fact, it was all because Jekyll and Hyde, because I found out Jekyll and Hyde had not safe for work versions. I was like, I must get those. Last year, like she had like a fairly big backlog already. I had to like slog through like so many like past videos just to find the specific not safe for work ones because I'm lonely. Don't at me.
If they at you, they're atting the entire fandom. We're all lonely. Heck, the only reason I joined the Patreon was because I was like, how not safe for work we talking? I joined and I listened. I was like, oh my god, they were good. But at first, I wasn't expecting them to be quite that intensive. But man, I'll shamelessly say I don't regret it.
Yeah. Yeah. Without getting into too much details, trust me, guys, they are worth it. And most importantly, well, maybe not for this time, as we'll get to the final one, but this is pretty near and dear to our hearts, is the Dangerous ASMR Discord. I like to think of this Discord as like not only a fun place for like Dangerous fans in general, but there's just a ton of good people on this one. This is the Discord that I go to like basically every day, just because I enjoy the atmosphere, and a lot of the people in here I have become like pretty good friends with, like Boggle here.
Aw.
It's nice to like have a place where like everybody has one thing in common. Well, there's like 20 or so people that are like, who's Dangerous ASMR? My friend just kidnapped me and brought me here. But most of the people, like 98%, are all Dangerous ASMR fans. So we all kind of come together with this similar interest, and then we all can kind of share and branch out like everything else we love. It's a great place to get along. And this is not a secret, don't worry guys, but Dangerous likes to head there basically every Saturday. So if you want a chance to come and say hi to Dangerous like yourself, come and check us out and come and check out the Discord on Saturday. And probably most important for this week is Dangerous has opened up a merch shop over on Redbubble. There's currently 2 shirts. And don't worry, I'll post the link to the Redbubble inside the video description. But there are 2 shirts and there's 1 mug. But not really knowing how Redbubble works, apparently you can take the design from like her shirt and it could be printed out on like various other things, like phone cases or stickers or even facial masks. Yeah, I'm actually planning on getting myself a coffee mug later on this week. I believe you ordered a shirt.
Yes, I did. I ordered the one that all my favorite things in life are dangerous. I couldn't resist. I was like, man, I know I haven't gotten my paycheck yet, but we're doing it.
She has mentioned that she is donating half of her proceeds to the NAACP Legal Defense Fund, which currently with how things are going on right now is very nice of her to be doing. So if you buy merch, you're not only helping her out, and you're not only getting Dangerous merch out, but you're going to be helping out African Americans in this country. Alright, now that the serious stuff is out of the way, let's talk about Quarantined with Your Yandere Stepmom. This is definitely like one of my favorite series that she does. I love this character so much. It's so freaking creepy, but it's also sexy. But in that fun, like, I feel like this is wrong, but I'm still liking it type of way.
I absolutely agree. What I actually like kind of also, aside from like the dark, dry humor and the hint of sexuality, is just in general the fact that it is a mother character. So even if there is like, yeah, the kind of suggestive undertones, she still kind of mothers you and says a lot of the stereotypical kind of annoying, like, I'm just trying to keep you safe. The world is a dark and scary place. Mother knows best. And it makes me laugh because, you know, everyone's got that person, like, even if it's not their mother directly, everyone has that person. And to see that mixing so well with the kind of the classic Yandere of, no, you can never leave, you're mine. And then, of course, obviously, yes, the undertones. It's just very funny. It's got a lot of funny little quirks in it, as well as just, especially this recent part, because it is so referential of the quarantine. Because I remember thinking, back when it first started, I wonder how long it will take Dangerous to make a quarantine audio too. And now at last, we've got one.
And it really helps, like, kind of like the underlying horror of the series, because now you as a listener, you are legitimately stuck with her. Like, there's no way to, like, escape her this time around. Like, before, you've been like, well, I'm just going to go to this party with some friends. Although, if you listen to the Not Safe for Work one, sometimes she follows you to said party. And so, like, it's just a situation now where she finally just has you within her grasp, like, whenever she wants.
And now we can theorize maybe the coronavirus was caused by Yandere, because ain't none of us leaving anywhere right now.
With
perfect disguise.
With how much she references, like, just doing things in the listener's life, I honestly would buy it if she was like, yeah, I purposely released this.
I created the virus, shipped it all the way to Japan or China, and waited for it to come back around.
Yeah, this is a really good entry into this one. What helps it out a lot, though, is this one is used with her binaural mic. Not only do you just get, like, her telling you that she's, like, you know, like, giving you back rubs and, like, caressing you and stuff like that, you feel, like, every moment of it now.
Yeah, the binaural audios are definitely my favorite because they are so immersive and the sound is so close and clear and intimate. So I won't lie, to me sometimes I'll get like, you know, classic ASMR tingles from this stuff, not because of what's happening, but because of the binaural. So that's always another reason to listen to these audios, even if you don't think they'll be your thing. If they still sound nice from like a neutral perspective.
Yeah, these are probably the only time I ever get those tingles is from that, because they're like so well planned. I'm pretty sure she does like blocking for this, so she knows like exact. Like I'm sure she like rehearses like her positioning and stuff like that, like before she like actually gets into the recording of it. She definitely hits her marks with these. Do you have a favorite episode of the Stepmother series?
Ooh, that's a tough. I have to say, I still think I would go with part one, just because even though that was from a long time ago and was not binaural, I really did find the idea of a yandere parent to be so refreshing and new and creative compared to the usual like love-struck girlfriend or whatever. To instead take it from a different relationship perspective and have it be an overbearing parent rather than just another lover. I know it's kind of heading that direction now, and I don't mind. It's whatever Dangerous would like to do. But just that first one, I was surprised by, because it's like I get just inherently hearing stepmother, especially on a channel like this, will make people think, wait a minute, what? But to see it focused more on her doing things like, oh, I have to do this because you're my child and I have to keep you safe. I'll get rid of bullies for you. I'll help you pass your classes. It was just an interesting twist on it. And I thought it was kind of creepy and cool in that way. Because, again, at least for me, it is more relatable to have an overbearing parent than an overbearing significant other.
Yeah. Personally, my favorite is number 2. Just mainly because I'm a sucker for sound effects in these. So just kind of the water effects of them like being in the lake. Like, are really like, huh, that's a nice touch. Good job. But it's mainly because it has like one of my favorite like dangerous ASMR lines of I'm gonna butcher it right now, but it's because you're mine, my family. It's just it like that line just always gets me. Sometimes like I'll admit like I'll actually just watch I'll listen to part 2 again just to hear her say like you're mine. Like it's just like I can't even really describe it. It's just like a combination of like creepy and like yeah. I just can't describe it. I love it whenever the Yandere stepmom says we're hers.
And I think to me that was also part of the appeal was that yeah, it manages to be scary and sweet at the same time. I mean, I know all that's kind of the trait of all yanderes, but I feel like with the stepmom in particular, that idea that she manages to balance that like creepy mom and the overprotective mom, but also like the genuinely kind of like I don't know how delusional she may or may not be, but sometimes when she says stuff like that, like, you're my family, and then the tone of voice she says it in, I'm like, I wonder how much of it she actually believes. And I think that's interesting to reflect upon, is if maybe there is some wholesome and genuine side to her affection, which is why she is happy to call us her family, even though it is also very twisted at the same time. That's the stuff I like. And there's a little bit of that goodness inside of the kind of evil, if you will.
It would be funny if it was revealed that like all the sexual undertones were just under her head. She just really is just a loving and caring mom.
Plot twist.
It's like, oh, but I listened to another shout out to the Patreon. Oh, but I listened to the not safe for work stuff. That's not how it happens there. Those aren't canon though, so it's okay. As much as I want them to be sometimes. Yeah, if you haven't listened to Dangerous in a while, this is definitely a series I recommend like catching up on. Like, there's only 4 episodes, and uploads are kind of sporadic, but to me it's always an event when we get like a new like stepmom audio. Next we have a very special treat that we got from Dangerous. It was to celebrate her 50,000 subscribers. She did a complete remaster of her Kidnapped by a Love-Crazed Yandere Girl. And it's honestly more of a remake too, because as we found out, she didn't even have a script for this, so she had to basically just do this by memory, and I'm assuming by listening to this again. And this one is also a binaural audio.
Yeah, it was definitely cool to hear it because it's like a perfect mix of old and new, where yeah, there's a lot of nostalgia going on the night it dropped, because everyone was going, oh, throwback. This was the first audio that started off. And even though I didn't join this fandom until just the fall of last year, I still kind of felt some of that nostalgia, like, man, this is where it all began. But then, like Stephen had said, because it was remastered with the binaural mic, of course, she wasn't able to exactly sound the way she did the first one. And you had those kind of increased sound effects that just come from doing it in binaural, and that was kind of cool. It's like, man, it's so weird to also hear it being like updated in some way, even though all the dialogue was the same.
Yeah, to kind of poke fun at Dangerous for a little bit, I listened to both of these at the same time. If I'm poke fun at Dangerous, I'll poke fun at myself. I've actually never listened to the Love Crazed Yandere series.
Oh, how dare you!
Yeah, I know. I'm the worst fan ever. Why did I start this
The
podcast?
original. You have to. Yeah, we need to end this podcast right now, and you need to listen to the rest of the series.
Funnily enough, I actually listened to. For those that don't know, the series actually had an end, and there's like a branching path based on like whether your character escaped or not. And so I listened to. I believe it's called Stalked by Love Crazy Yandere Girl. Um, and that's the one where like you got away from her. And I've listened to like a couple of those, and I'm just like, these are really fucking creepy. Because you never get the answer if she's really still out there. It could be your character. It could be like the listener's just super paranoid and stuff like that. So I actually went back to listen to the first episode. I already fucking said that, but I'll edit that part out. So going back to listening to it was like a pretty like big experience for me. I did feel like a dick because I was like purposely listening to like all the sound cues and stuff like that. So I heard like all of like the little like, oh, I can tell she's using like a cell phone mic for most of this. I heard all the sounds. I apologize if those sounds annoy you because I just did it. But listening to like her remaster and stuff, like you could just tell like how much she's grown, like not only talent wise, but like technology wise, because like not only was like the audio like there was like no audio problems with it anymore. In fact, she has like the binaural mic. But even like the pacing of this was like much better. It's actually like a minute shorter, and I feel like she fit more in while it also like being like much more quicker. Yeah, I feel like I should really like go back and listen to the series. I mean, it is her first series. I don't know why. I guess it's just.
This is the original series. Even I went back and listened to it, and there's still some audios that I haven't covered. I know I'm terrible.
Maybe one of these days we just need to listen to every single audio. Just
Do a marathon. Back to back to back.
And then
don't even pause for bathroom breaks. Just take it to the bathroom with you and keep listening.
Keep it going while you're asleep, and then replay the ones that you fell asleep to, just so you double get
Yeah.
it. And then by the time you're done, you're literally just every dream you have is just you getting captured by a different dangerous character.
Every night. That sounds good to me.
It'd be funny if like that started happening and like you get your favorites and you're like, no, I need to fall asleep to get back to the Tsundere werewolf. I woke up too soon.
Oh, we were just getting to the good part. I was like, subscribe to Patreon for the Not Safe for Work, and then you wake up, it's like, dang it.
I was so close. By the way, I just need to throw this out here. Tsundere werewolf is my favorite character.
I don't think I can pick a favorite.
Or Alpha, as I like to call her. And I feel like that's catching on. And that
Yes, it is.
That is the whole reason I made this podcast, actually, just to get that name over.
He can brag about how he added to official Dangerous lore because yes, even Dangerous calls the wolf the Alpha now.
Yeah.
Well, all thanks to Stephen.
As soon as that's canon, like as soon as that's said in an audio, podcast over forever.
I did it. No, the next podcast will be 5 seconds long. I told you so. And
so, like, gun to your head, if you had to pick one, what would you think you would say?
Because the problem is, I think it depends on what you're talking about in specific. Because on the one hand, like if we're talking about favorite character that I'd like to hang out with or be friends with, I might pick like Alpha or Neko or something, somebody who's kind of sweet and silly. But if we're talking about just one that just kind of I find cool, but necessarily would not want to hang out around, would be the characters in the Doll series, just because one of my favorite movies is very similar to the Doll series, so that's why that series has kind of like a special place in my heart, because even though it is probably the darkest one that she has released to the public, and definitely you would not want either of those characters within like a 100-mile radius of you, just the nature of the story is very much what I have like fond memories of from that movie, so I'm like, this is cool. Like, you know, this will always kind of be at the top of the list, even though it's so messed up, and I'd never want to hang out with either of these people in real life.
First off, favorite movie. That's like the only movie you've seen.
Okay, that too. That's the truth. Well, no, because I saw the 2 spin-offs, which you have. So I've seen 3 movies, guys. 3 movies. I spent my time listening to Dangerous ASMR. It's not my fault.
But second off, that's a series that we should like spend like an episode on, just like do it.
Ah, that is so fun. Oh my god.
It's pretty underrated, and I wish
It is upsetting.
I'm mad because one, it doesn't seem like it's continuing, and
I know.
and two, we never got a not safe for work one.
Cool, because I feel like that's probably where the series would have ended. Like, obviously, that's where it was headed. With the very last line, the very last part, I'm like, okay, so this is, because that's even what I did when I joined the Patreon. I did, out of curiosity, one day, like, try to find a doll not safe for work, because they've been hinting at it since the beginning, and the very last line, the very last episode was very much like, okay, that's what's coming. But then it never happened. It never came. Dun, dun. And neither did we. And it sounds like the author is no longer on the server, and I think I did manage to find them by scrolling through old conversations, but I don't know if it'd be weird to reach out to them, so. And I don't really want to continue the series myself, because I'm worried I wouldn't do it justice.
I personally keep making jokes that I want to continue Pirate Queen, but it's like, what if we just don't do a good enough job? And then everybody gets mad at us.
Exactly. Like, they'll be like, well, it would have been better if you had never done this at all, because you ruined it. Like, that's what I'm worried about. Because at least for the doll series, like, for me, I'm more interested in the older sister character, even though the series is predominantly about the younger one. So that's already one thing I'd have to disagree with. And then I'd be more interested in, like, the lore of the world rather than of it. A big, attraction of it is how violent it gets. And I'm like, it's not that I can't stand violence, because I'm pretty desensitized to that stuff, but it's like, it's boring. I don't want to just write, like, 1,000 words of what they'll do to you if they get mad at you. I wanted to talk more about the lore of the world, but it's like, man, I don't know how to script that, so.
What's funny is the things that we like from the alternate ending, I guess, we can call it. You probably like basically Angie's monologue about like her past and
Yes.
like, getting back her like organs. While I'm like, I like the body horror stuff.
I know, we literally like two opposite things in it, but yours is like the more canon. Like, because obviously mine is like, come for the horror, stay for the story, basically, for me.
Yeah, that's what most of her audios I'm like too. I'm just like, I just want to hear even like the vampire episodes, I'm like, I just want to hear the vampire sucking some blood. But it's like, these are interesting characters though, so I will continue to listen.
Come for the fan service, literally, and then stay for the plot and characters.
Yeah, it actually goes back to what I was saying about Jekyll and Hyde, but it's like, the whole reason I found her was because I want to hear like transformations. And it's like, wait a minute, this is just a great fucking story with like awesome characters. And now it's time for the final video of the week. And it should be posted by the time this podcast comes out. Well, I mean, it'll 100% be posted by the time this podcast comes out, because I wouldn't be surprised if it was already on our YouTube channel. But Dangerous is.
Haven't gotten a notification yet, so we're still waiting on it.
Yeah, we're up. We're generally always up to date. This is what we wait for in our lives. It's for a new Dangerous
We get
video.
notifications every time she drops, and we're like, oh, here we go.
Yeah. Every YouTuber ever that's ever said, "Can you ring that bell?" I'm like, no, fuck you. Don't tell me what to do. But for Dangerous, she was like one of the first ones. Who was like, oh, I need updates immediately. Ring bell rung.
Bell's already rung, yeah.
So her next audio was the humming and head pats ASMR relaxation. Why did I say relaxation so weird? And these are some types of audios that she's made before. She's made humming audios in the past, but I generally never listen to them because I'm like, there's no story in this, blah. But I actually gave this one a shot, and it was super effective on me. It made me really calm.
Yeah, the funny thing is, for me, this may sound weird, but I've actually never really been a fan of humming audios, and even now, it still doesn't quite work for me. But the sound of kind of like the head pats, those sound effects are really nice. So I listened to it last night, and I actually did almost fall asleep to it. So that's how you know it was good, because usually I don't fall asleep to these kind of audios, but now last night I guess I was just really tired. I was like, oh, these head pats sound nice. I like the sound effects of like just the moving around and the petting, so it was good. Definitely good for like a lot of the comments, since these audios are released on Patreon before they're on YouTube. I've seen the comments on the Patreon, and everyone's basically saying that it was really comforting, especially for what this entire world is going through this year. So that'll be another plus. for anyone who listens to it is yes, a source of kind of like comfort from all the discord and fun that 2020 has managed to pull out from wherever the heck it's getting this endless slew of misery and terror.
Yeah, if you need just like 30 minutes of just pure relaxation, I definitely recommend it. It not only has like humming and head pats, like there's like rain and like crackling of like a fireplace, and I think that's what did it for me too, was the crackling of the fire and the rain, because those are just like two sounds, so like I can fall asleep to those, and they're really big help when like I need relaxation.
Agreed.
It kind of makes me want to go back and listen to her other ones, because like I said, I just kind of wrote them off because, like I said before, I'm a terrible fan. And so, if this one was that effective, like, I can imagine the rest of them are. Maybe I should listen to that moist one that everybody talks about.
No, I listened to that one just for the humor value, the meme value. I was not relaxed by that one. I was too busy laughing.
Because people keep like bringing it up to me, and I'm like, that's just a joke, right? She doesn't really say voice for 20 minutes, and the people are like,
oh yes, she does.
Um,
That's why you got to listen to it, though, just to claim you did. At this point, it's not even like, oh, I'm listening to it for the quality. You're listening to for the humor, so that you can say, well, that's under my belt. I listened to the moist audio, you guys. I did it.
kind of going back to like why I love Dangerous so goddamn much is like not only is it just like how like much she goes 100% with like horror and like sexual elements, but like she's really funny.
Oh, she has an amazing sense of humor. She does all of it so well because, like we said, she's got the moist audio for the memes, but even she's got one where I think it was, I don't remember the exact subscriber count, but it was one of the special ones where called Creator Kidnapped by Her Character. So not only do you get to see, this is a really good audio to listen to if you want to see, like, just a good example of her range of talent because she voices so many characters in that one audio, but it's just so funny because it's the meta humor of, you know, a creator getting kidnapped by the characters and all the characters having some sort of beef to pick with her. And then another older one that's kind of another kind of satire and parody is Blind Date with a YouTube ASMR artist where her character is your date, but she keeps making ASMR-y kind of noises on the date, like whispering and rubbing her hands on the tablecloth and tapping the wine glass. And it's kind of a big, you know, joke towards anybody who does the more traditional ASMR. So, and even her, this year for April Fool's, she released an audio about the toilet paper crisis in America because of the coronavirus. And last year it was a Yandere grandmother. And so she does so much humor, you know, dirty humor, meta humor, memes essentially. It's all so well done, and every single time it gets a laugh out of me. So not only, like Stephen said, not only is she talented and hardworking, but she's got such a great sense of humor, and she pulls off every single type of humor so well.
And so since his first full week of this month is over, what are you hoping for this week?
Ooh. To be quite honest, I am a bit of a suck-up sometimes, and I'm one of the people who are like, no matter what she puts out, I know I'll enjoy it. Because to be quite honest, I'm not really sure what I'm looking forward to exactly. Like, there are audios I would like to see, for example, like maybe another part of the crossover or another vampire, etc., but I don't have anything I've got, like, my fingers crossed for. I'm just more, I kind of like the surprise of seeing, oh, hey, what's it going to be this week? So...
Personally, this month, like I know obviously we're getting a Jekyll and Hyde because it is like pretty much like a monthly thing. I think like I'm kind of cheating because I know some things she's released. I know we're going to be getting another vampire audio, although I don't know what that one's about. But personally, I'm hoping we just get to hear from Alpha again. Like I like the Yandere werewolf. Nana is her official name. But I miss my werewolf. And I'm hoping we get something from her. Also, I'm hoping we get more Saved by the Giantess. I've actually been saving episodes. I'm like 2 episodes behind, and that's on purpose. So I can just binge for like an hour on Saved by the Giantess episodes.
Binge listening is sometimes the best and worst thing because, like, it really, you get it all at once. So it's like a full complete, you don't have to forget, but then all the parts blend together, and if it is a longer series, you're like, all right, it's been 2 hours and I'm not done yet.
Oh yeah, that happened to me with the original Yandere, no, Tsundere werewolf, we'll call it. I was just in my car, and I listened to the Cuddles one, and I'm like, whoa, I like this character. Whoa, she has a series. I'm gonna listen to this whole series so I understand the context. And I just listened to it as like all 10 episodes in one day, just as I was doing deliveries. And so I got everything. The problem is I don't know which episode is about what anymore.
Exactly. That was me with Jekyll and Hyde, because I was in the what kept me from listening to Jekyll and Hyde at first was because it's already, I think, at like 11 or 12 parts by the time I joined the fandom. And I have to admit, I don't really like listening to long things or incomplete things, and that was both. But one new part dropped, and everyone on the Discord was talking about it, and I essentially got bullied into binging it that night so I would understand what people were talking about. That took me 3 hours. I absolutely loved every second of it, and now I am all caught up, and I do thoroughly enjoy it. That was 3 hours. I'm like, that part where she did this thing, I'm not sure which episode, but I know it happened somewhere towards the beginning of the series.
I was one of the bullies, by the way, in case everyone was wondering.
Yeah. Yeah, well, because everyone was like, what do you mean you haven't listened to it? What do you mean you're not going to listen to it? Because, again, like, I prefer completed series, but at the way a lot of these have been going, if you're only listening to completed series, you're basically not listening to any of her new ASMRs, because I don't think she's really done many one-shots in a long time. Like, not counting the humming one. Most of them have been series, I think.
Yeah, I do feel bad when people write her, like, something that has a potential for a new series, because now it's another series she has to add to her series list. And then...
Yeah, I kind of wish we'd go back to the days of, like, more one-shot. I'm not saying get rid of series, but bring back the one-off audios, you know?
Yeah, because I'm worried one day she'll just be like, I have a fucking, like, television channel worth of, like, series.
Yeah, I know.
It's like,
literally, I'm scrolling through all of her all of her audios in the past, like, at least month or two, including the Not Safe for Works, are all parts. Because, again, like, you've got the Drunk and Dangerous, and then the Quarantine with Your Stepmom, and then the Seduced by Your Friend's Older Sister, the Lamia's Lullaby, the Yandere Werewolf, the Succubus, the Executive. Yeah, I think the last one that so far only has one part is that Evening with a Rune Mistress, and that was dropped May 14th. If that's kept as one-off, that'll be the first one-shot we've had, the only one we've had in about a month. And she updates like 3 times a week.
Yeah, May had a few one-shots, so it had like the Rune one, it had that Dragon Prince audio, pretty sure that's only a one-shot. And now we would like to take this moment to congratulate Dangerous on 50,000 subscribers. That's pretty fucking big. Especially like, she's been only doing this for like 2 years, and she, like, just every month she seems to just grow and grow and grow, and there seems to be like no signs of stopping. Like, I wouldn't be surprised by the end of this year she gets that silver play button.
That'd be awesome.
But she better do a video on it, because I want to see the silver play buttons as Dangerous ASMR on it.
Same.
Yeah, so Dangerous, here's to you. I'm holding up a glass, metaphorically.
I'm underaged. I can't do that. By 1 year.
Oh, that must be a bummer.
Actually, half a year now.
So Boggle has her apple cider. I got my I don't drink, so I guess I also have apple cider. Yay! Dangerous. Here you go. 2 drinks that have no alcohol for you. Congratulations on 50,000 subscribers, and I can't wait for your next audio. And if you enjoy this podcast, go ahead and subscribe, or don't. You don't even have to give me a thumbs up. You can give me a thumbs down if you want. What's one more disappointment in my life? But I hope you guys enjoyed this, and we will be back here next week with some more great Dangerous ASMR discussions. Boggle, is there anywhere you would like people to come find you at? Well, that sounded more creepy than
Just
I
the
thought.
Well, first off, just find me on the Discord. I'd love to talk to anyone who comes my way. DMs are always open. Say hello. Join the Discord. The second off, yes, I will absolutely tell you where I live. I really don't care. Come kidnap me. Give me some excitement during quarantine. But you got to DM me first before I tell you my address.
That's what I find funny about her. Is like, I will tell you exactly where I am. Okay, what's your name? Oh, I'm not fucking telling you. You're a goddamn stranger.
My name is special. The only people who get to know have known me in real life because I tell everyone everything else. So I'm like, let me have one secret, and that's the least important. So.
So remember, if you're in the middle of a forest and you hear someone say hello to you, go to her, because it might be a dangerous ASMR character. That's actually a stupid way to end a podcast. Alright, I need to think of a better way to end this.
I liked it.
We'll work on it. Bye, everybody. Have a good night.